need some flowers. A wreath, or...
I've none. Sold everything. I was just on my way out. No sense hanging about with nothing to do. Should come as no shock, sir. Had the funeral, folk took it all. Men, women, children, all wished to lay a bouquet on the Duchess's grave. Windflowers, peonies, gladioli. But she liked common roses best. I know, her ladies-in-waiting would come here at times. I'd choose the loveliest blooms for her. Fragrant, big petals, the kind that last a long time. I've still not come to terms with it. To be killed by her own sister. How could it happen?
Yeah, I mean... Well, so this is interesting. I mean, of course, in our initial playthrough, we did have both of them survive, and so that time around, of course, both of them obviously died, but it does make you wonder. I mean, certainly, Sienna was out to kill the Duchess, and I suppose we didn't do enough. I'm not even sure if you can do enough to... if there isn't enough that prevents her from killing the Duchess in this situation. And I wonder if... I guess I feel like that's inevitable, or at least maybe inevitable. My question that I have, though, is... might there be a way for Sienna to still live? Because remember, we basically forewarned Damien and said, bring additional guards because we're expecting for Sienna to try to do something to potentially attack the Duchess. So much for stopping her from doing so. But, of course, he did respond by shooting her with a crossbow and killing her in the process. So I wonder if maybe if we hadn't told Damien that, would have Sienna still live? Maybe, and then what would have happened? Who knows? We didn't know Sienna's full story, so we couldn't bring them back together. And we only learned that when we went with Sienna through the Land of a Thousand Fables. Or maybe there's a way to still get the full story from Sienna even after having gone with the Unseen Elder. Don't know. Ever thought Sienna would be so unrelenting? No, we knew that. I mean, this is kind of true, to be honest with you.
Anna Henrietta wanted to believe there was still hope for Sienna, that she'd show remorse. She reached a hand out to her. Too soon. Too trusting.
I know you. You're that witcher from the north. The one that saved us from the beast.
Mm-hmm. Could say that.
Wait here. Take these.
Thought you were out of flowers.
I put a bouquet aside. I was to take it to her myself. But you have it. I know you held the Duchess dear.
How much do I owe you?
Not a copper. Keep your coin and raise a toast in her memory tonight.
Oh, that's sweet.
Do just that. Farewell.
Oh, and there's even a statue of her. They made that pretty darn quickly if that was not there before. Okay, let's see. So place a flower on Anna Henrietta's grave. Yeah. And the statue is, I assume, on her gravesite. I'm pretty sure this was not here before. Let's see if we can get a good angle on it. Excuse me, sorry. Alright, as for the actual...
Take good care of yourself.
Really, dude? Really? Time and a place, and this is not it. Read the room, man. Read the room. Yeah, wow. It's actually way out from where that statue is. Oh, and I vaguely remember this as well. We might want to make a point of going there first real quick. I do think this is going to be just a brief little side thing for us to check out. We can get there, that is. which admittedly is perhaps easier said than done. Here we go. Yeah, right. I do remember what this one is. So in truth, we probably don't need to do this. I imagine it probably has not changed, but for the sake of at least seeing it through and making sure we don't miss it, it is Guillaume.
Guillaume, what are you doing here?
Leave me be. Without my Vivian, life has no meaning. You are the last to whom I wish to speak.
Alright. Glad to help. Actually not sure if we read up on those updates to Vivian and Guillaume last time round to see what exactly has changed on that write-up. And basically what we did was we just prioritized Vivian over Guillaume and said, you know, Guillaume, I'm not sure you're good enough for her.
One false move and you will regret it.
And is it even worth fast-traveling here? It might be, to tell you the truth. I suppose we're close enough. Might as well walk this one out. It's basically just on the other side of this graveyard here.
Life's like an infant.
What a
Must be born.
Okay. And then her gravesite. Is it this right here? No, it's down below. Looks like it is.
Witcher, I was certain you'd departed.
Couldn't. Anna Henrietta was...
Wondrous. Beautiful. Good.
Alright, slow down, buddy.
The best ruler one could hope to have. Yet I let her down.
Let's see. I mean... Stop feeling sorry for yourself? That's harsh. Don't blame yourself. I mean, yes, we did forewarn you, and you probably should have done significantly better to, stop the thing from happening that we specifically warned you about, but, yeah, you know, don't blame yourself.
Don't be so hard on yourself. No one expected Sienna to do that, persist to the end. And none of us did anything to stop her. Because there was nothing we could do.
Debatable, but
I suppose
sorta.
you are right. But when someone so beloved dies, one cannot help but search one's soul for blame. And even the hardiest knights grow faint-hearted then.
Come to pay my respects. Bid the Duchess farewell.
White roses. They were her favorite. Go inside then. She lies in the ducal crypt.
But if he didn't have white roses, then he
in
wasn't going to let
one
us in.
room with her murderer, despite my protests.
What? Who decided that?
The Regent's Council. A pack of old men who've statutes and codices for hearts. Ducal blood flowed in Sienna's veins, and she was never legally disinherited. So they ruled she should lie alongside Anarietta.
That is kind of weird. You're right. You can place flowers on both graves or just Anna Henrietta's grave. Oh, that is interesting. Such a small little detail, but it means a lot. Says so much about how much do you actually, I guess, I don't know if trust is the right word, but obviously, at the very least, Anna Henrietta, we're mourning for her, but I suppose, to what extent are we mourning for Sienna? And at least, in this situation, this time round, we did not spend nearly as much time with Sienna, we did not learn nearly as much about her, and we tried to talk her out of murdering her sister, but we didn't do enough to make that happen, so, I mean, in this case, you, I suppose, could make an argument for saying that she doesn't deserve that kind of mercy. That is pretty harsh, but at the same time, the reason why we're here is, of course, because she tried and did kill her sister, and that is pretty much as harsh as it gets, right? But I suppose we'll place it on both.
it bring you? Rest in peace.
I'm assuming that must be Sienna then. Yeah, and then this, especially since there's a crown, is definitely the Duchess.
I regret it ended this way, that I failed to prevent it. Hope you can forgive me. Rest in peace.
Also, definitely put more flowers on the Duchess's grave.
Stylish crypt, quite subdued. Yes, this is the kind of eternal resting place I dream of.
Moments like this, I never know if you're joking or serious.
Serious, Geralt, serious. It's remarkably peaceful, subtly charming to the hilt. A perfect match for the Duchess's dignity. Ah, you humans, you'll never cease to amaze me. To feel despair in the face of natural processes to which you are predestined. I've come to take you from this place, my friend. Dare say you deserve a speck of respite after the mad whirl of the last few days.
Yeah, it's a little bit out of taste. It's a very stylish
All
crypt.
those deaths I failed to prevent. Feel pretty awful right about now. Can't help thinking I could have done more. Now Toussaint's left without a ruler, or more accurately, chaos rules here. Hand in hand with despair. Duchess won over people's hearts. All Beauclair now weeps for her.
So yeah,
The
this
mass
wouldn't
outburst
have
of
felt
emotion.
great if this was
Well, it seems
the
the
ending
subjects
to our
adopted
primary
some of their
playthrough.
recent rulers'
For
traits.
that reason that Geralt just said.
Why the sarcasm? Thought you liked Donna Henrietta.
I did. And I do truly rue her passing.
Me too.
Then let us drink.
I suppose I preferred, or thought you preferred complex solutions. What is this, just a reference to drinking off our problems rather than, I don't know, finding some other way to mourn her?
Always seemed to me you were a very complicated creature by nature. Not one to resort to such simple methods like drinking your worries away.
Yeah.
There exist worries for which they're quite simply, it's no other medicine.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we did nothing to try to stop Sienna, even in this situation. We obviously didn't do as much, but still, even after trying to tell her, no, don't do it, and setting up the guards to try to stop her, she was still eager enough, determined enough to take out her sister. And at the steepest of costs.
Whatever you say about Sienna, you gotta admit, she was unbending.
That she was. I do admit it. Though, in her case, it would have been better if she had been a tad more, philosophical.
You don't say.
Pausing from time to time to reflect on the propriety of her actions.
I mean, you're right.
True.
How do you find my personal brew? Not too strong.
Just right.
Credit the local mandrake of the Alrauna diabolus variety for that. The tubers which grow in this area's volcanic soil have an altogether unique flavor profile and display a remarkably uncommon dark brown tint.
Fascinating. All I can say is this batch turned out excellent.
Indeed. It might be wise to stockpile some roots for the future. Would you care to accompany me?
I mean, it's dark out? You sure?
You decide to go root picking now? It's dark out.
The Duchess shooed away the guards. That was her decision. I see.
Even were I generously to assume it had simply slipped your mind that I am a vampire and thus need no light to see, I'd never believe you had also forgotten that you likewise have absolutely no trouble seeing in the dark. So, shall we?
Fair enough. You got me. But yeah, so basically, right, didn't we see the guards put down their halberds to sort of block the path to stop Sienna from approaching the Duchess. And then was that when the Duchess sort of said, no, 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 it's okay, and basically waved them off, and then, of course, proceeded to hug Sienna, and, well, that was the last hug she'll ever give.
If you think it's a good idea, let's go. But I think you might be forgetting one thing. Fresh mandrake root of this variety is highly toxic, even to a witcher.
Ah, not a problem. I never forget matters of safety and hygiene in alchemy. Here, gloves and a mask. Don them, and you shall be in no danger.
Thanks. Right then, let's go.
I actually wonder,
This
it is technically listed as optional to put them on. I was gonna say, what happens if we don't?
Let me
We
guess.
just immediately die?
Succubus twins?
No, I was thinking about, how anything can look interesting when properly lit.
Even an old necrophage corpse?
You've not an ounce of refinement in you, have you?
So, do we try not putting on the gloves and the mask and just see what happens? Probably doesn't end well. But I'm kind of intrigued. I'm kind of curious. Let's try it. Let's save, of course, just in case. Because we're probably going to die. I'm just not exactly sure how we're going to die. Maybe Regis will just be like, Carol, you're being an idiot. Put those on. But it does say optional, for what it's worth. Let's see. We need to find them first, though. Somewhere in this circle. Okay. Saw something glowing for a second there. There we go. Okay, so are we going to just immediately die? Oh, we just have our toxicity go way up. And Geralt is not pleased. Let's go for the second one, then. First one, you know, just makes us very ill. But actually, out of curiosity, we have some alchemy skills on right now, don't we? Isn't our maximum toxicity... how do we access it's on the inventory screen, then this? Oh no, we only have a maximum of 100 toxicity. I was gonna say, if we had one of our masteries on that allowed us to increase our maximum toxicity above 100, then maybe we actually would be able to pick up both of those, and we would not reach 100 toxicity, in which case we might be fine. But if we are to pick this one up, then we'd go to 120 out of 100, and presumably we die. But let's find out. Yep. Well, we're taking a lot of damage. No, we're fine. Sort of. Kind of. A little bit. But not really. What's up, Regis?
Now, where'd that bloodsucker go? Won't be easy to track down. He's a vampire, after all.
Alright, I mean, we should probably do something to heal here.
Where'd you go?
Otherwise, we're going to slowly die, right? So yeah, we probably throw on a white honey here. Just to remove the toxicity. I was kind of expecting for us to just immediately die. Or, you know, just a dramatic, like... and then collapse. There's white honey. What happens if we use black blood next to Regis? Just a thought.
Regis!
Never occurred to me. But, you know, he is a vampire. He is a vampire.
Where'd you go?
Regis!
And if I remember correctly,
Damn it, where'd you go?
we might find ourselves in a bit of a situation here.
I did what I had to do!
Oh, are they mad at Regis for having killed Deadlock? Yeah, they're saying he's a traitor. Okay, I did not see that last time. Interesting. That adds a lot of depth to that.
They called you a traitor.
Alas, we've a very simple code of honor, we vampires.
Yeah.
So simple you might call it trivial. Either one is with us, unconditionally, regardless of the circumstances, or
Won't let it go, will they?
they will not. Fortunately, we've another rule, an unwritten one, and just as trivial as the first. It is neatly summarized in the saying, out of sight, out of mind. That is why I must leave Toussaint. For a vastly long time, most like.
Yeah, I get it.
Let us make for my camp. I've an overwhelming desire to have another drink. Supreme bouquet. Firm, defined beginning, then develops gently, rising to a startling finish. Don't you think?
Not much of a connoisseur.
Then it is high time you started your education. After all, the Corvo Bianco vineyard is now yours. By the way, I left a gift for you at your new home, on the nightstand.
Thanks. Mind telling me what it is?
A trifle. That will nonetheless be useful should you need mutagens. Incidentally, have you thought about what you'll do with your prize? Shall you hang your swords over the mantle and take to pruning vines?
Step ahead of you, buddy. We definitely do already have swords up there. Let's see, though. Will we settle down for good? Or will we continue our life as a witcher, or we just, we don't really know. Well, I mean, I think we've talked a fair bit with Yen about settling down. Ciri, on the other hand, maybe more so the opposite. We've sort of suggested to her that we'd go out and do our witchering stuff with her. So, sort of pulls us in two different directions. I think last time we might have just said don't know yet. Let's go. Maybe we settle down this time.
Know what? Think I just might. Come on now, don't laugh. Maybe not today or tomorrow. But one day I'll want to see what it's like. To just wake up every day in my own bed.
Oh, stop, please. Sounds so sentimental, my fangs have begun to hurt. Then what? Will you begin writing your memoirs like Dandelion?
Hey, don't you compare us to Dandelion. That's not funny.
I can remember a night, not too far from here if I'm not mistaken. We hid in a cave while a blizzard raged all about. Does that sound at all familiar?
How could it not? We just set off to rescue Ciri from Vilgefortz.
Our encounter with Vilgefortz. That is something I do not remember so fondly. But that first stay in Beauclair, far calmer than this one.
Seemed like a land straight out of a fairy tale back then. Its sole problem, cellars too small to accommodate all that wine.
Appearances, Geralt. Appearances, like Mamoons and Dopplers, deceive. So what did become of Vilgefortz?
Don't know.
Killed him. Sure wasn't easy, though.
Apparently. As for you, though, Regis, I mean, you were saying you basically need to get out of here. Get out of town, otherwise every single vampire in existence is gonna try to hunt you down.
What about you? Any idea where you'll go?
Distance is of the essence. I thought I might venture south.
Nilfgaard?
Why ever not? The Nilfgaardians are a modern society. None there believe in vampires anymore. This fact alone could be very useful to one wishing to remain incognito.
Oh, alright.
Interesting point of view.
Alright, and with that, let's just sit back, relax a little bit, I suppose.
I so don't feel like going anywhere. Sit here a while longer?
And call it
So
a
we
game.
shall, my friend. We have witnessed, and in fact on several occasions incited, many great and weighty events. After all that toil, I believe we deserve a bit of a rest.
Indeed.
That we do.
And with that, we reach the conclusion of our alternate timeline there. Of course, first time, we went over with Sienna through the Land of a Thousand Fables. And attempt number 2, we went in to check out the Unseen Elder, and we were interested to see how things would play out differently there, and, well, let's just say it was considerably bloodier than our first go-around. And everything after the credits stays the same? Okay, so I suppose in that case, well, we can skip here.
Actually, I'd love to go home.
And we can go home and we can talk to Yen and what have you. We have, of course, done that in our initial playthrough, and if that is 100% identical from here on out, then I suppose that means that there's no real reason to just repeat what we did before. So, thank you everybody again for watching our entire Witcher 3 playthrough, and thank you everybody who was giving us all the tips and tricks along the way without giving us too much in the way of spoilers. Very much appreciate it. We do, of course, now have potentially a mysterious third alternate ending, which is not as obvious where that one becomes available, because, of course, like I said, first one was just a matter of you choose between you go with Sienna or do you go with Regis to the Unseen Elder. And so we've done both of those things, but where exactly does this third one start? We saw a few different things that seemed like they would have sent us potentially down slightly different paths, or at least reach slightly different outcomes. Wasn't entirely sure which of those might have actually totally branched off into an entirely different ending, but didn't stop me from theorizing as we were going through with our Unseen Elder attempt. So the other thing that I was curious about was I did deliberately kind of pick a fight with Oriana in that Unseen Elder attempt, and so I was thinking that that would ultimately conclude in some kind of fight. Although we tried going back to see her a little bit, like almost immediately after that conversation, and the door was just locked. We couldn't see her. So I do wonder if, like, actually, if we try to go back to the orphanage, can we encounter her and fight her there? Is that a thing, or is it just it's purely just for conversation's sake? You either are nice to her or you're not, but you never actually get the chance to confront her. Because if we can, then I would say that's worth looking into it now. That was, I suppose, it was what, like right here? So it's basically between Corvo Bianco, Turning Grounds, and Count Delacroix's mill. That was one thing that I guess there were some questions as to whether that might have potentially led us down a third path. But I'm curious to just at least see what is happening at the orphanage now. Let's just take a quick look. So let's mark it. And I want to see if Oriana is still there. I mean, I suppose she also has her house directly in the city. There's a chance we could find her there. But it just felt like there was a little bit more to that. It felt like we weren't necessarily done, or at least we hadn't done everything that there was to do with Oriana just yet. Because it was, I mean, Geralt, I'm pretty sure, quite literally said, I will come back for you. This is not the end. And so it would feel weird to just leave things on that note and never actually come back to confront her. Not gonna lie, for a second I thought those flowers were Oriana. Let's save just in case. So this is where we saw her most recently. Was down in this room right here. We'll need to watch one of the trailers for the conclusion to Oriana's storyline. Like a trailer for The Witcher 3? Like, it's not directly in the game, but there's, like, other sort of, like, game marketing materials that basically show you what happens at the end with Oriana. That's a little strange. I don't feel great about that, just because it feels like, there were some pretty heavy-handed hints, or mentions, like I said, Geralt quite literally saying, like, we're not done here. It made me think that hopefully we'd get the chance to, I mean, ideally I was thinking she could be a cool sort of optional, I don't know, probably not final boss fight, but an optional, potentially quite difficult boss. And I thought that'd be a lot of fun to do that, and I thought that might be something that, as we would have had happen in our first playthrough, a lot of people would potentially miss if they went in a different direction. So I was intrigued about that, but if that is not on the table, then I suppose there's nothing for us to do on that front. It just feels kind of strange that that's, that's purely in a trailer for the game, and there isn't anything in-game to actually reach that conclusion. But anyways, I think that means that at this stage, yeah, the only thing we have left is this mysterious third ending, and like I said, I've theorized as to where that might take place, but I don't exactly know